Alright, hey students, let's go ahead and get in today's lesson. Remember, today's video is going to be a little different from your last videos since you have a homework sheet. So for the first part of the video or of your homework, I want you to follow along on your guided practice sheet and fill in as we go along. And then on the back, I want you to complete the independent practice by yourself, and then you're going to turn in everything Tuesday when you come into classroom. All right.
This lesson is on exponents. A lot of this is going to be a review of what you learned in 5th grade. There is going to be some new vocabulary, so you want to make sure you pay attention to that. All right, first let's get down our definitions real quick. The first word is base. All right, base. Base is the big number in an exponent expression. So it is the number that you will multiply by itself. So, and we're going to look at an example of that here in a minute, but right now let's focus on just getting down our definitions. The second vocabulary word is going to be the word exponent. You're going to be using it a lot throughout this unit. The exponent is the little number, that's the little number up in the corner, in an exponent expression. The exponent tells you how many times you multiply the base by itself. Alright, it's very important that you understand that. Alright, the third term is power. Now power, not like electricity power or power with muscles. A power in math, we're talking about, is what is represented with a base number and an exponent. So if it has a base number and an exponent, we call that a power in math. Alright, these two words should be new to you, but some of you might have heard of them. The first one is squared. Anytime you hear Ms. Juhan or myself use the word squared, or a number is squared, it is when you raise the number to the second power. So here's some examples. 3 to the second power is 3 squared. 4 to the second power is 4 squared. It's just the way we say it. You can also use fractions as your base. 1/2 squared. Or decimals. 1.5 squared. So anytime you hear that word squared, it means I'm raising it to the second power. Alright? Another one you're going to hear a lot is cubed. Cubed. Just like a cube, this shape. And this is when you raise a number to the third power. So anytime we raise a number to the third power, we say the number is cubed. So here are some examples. 3 cubed, 4 cubed, 5 cubed, 1/2 cubed, 1.5 cubed. Anytime you raise a number to the third power, it is cubed. Alright? Those are the only exponents that have special names. Anytime we raise it to the second power, we say it's squared. If we raise it to the third power, we say it's cubed. If we raise it to the fourth power, we just say 3 to the fourth power. To the fifth power, we'll say 3 to the fifth power. There's no special name.
Alright. This is the diagram that I want you to get into the box that's on your homework sheet. If you look right here, I want you to copy down this diagram into your box and make sure you label all of your parts. So here, the way we'll say this is 9 to the 5th power. All right, 9 to the 5th power. 9 is my base, it's my big number. 5 is my exponent, that's my small number that floats up here in the air. When I have a base and an exponent together, I call the whole thing a power. All right? So that's how you're going to be seeing it in math class. All right, let's look at our first example. Example 1, and this is on your guided practice sheet. Example 1, solve. Let's look at 2 different expressions. Our first expression is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. All right, so how will we go about solving that? Well, all this is what we call repeated addition. All right, repeated addition. So we add 4 plus 4, we'll get 8 plus 8. And then plus another 4, our final answer is 20. That's pretty obvious. Most of you know that. When we have repeated addition, it is the same thing as multiplication. Alright? So this is 4 5 times. Alright? So 4 times 5, you will get 20. Alright? Now let's look at it, the second expression. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. All right, so this is not repeated addition. So it's not just multiplication. All right, this is repeated this is repeated multiplication. So we're multiplying 4 over and over again. So we're going to get a much bigger number. So 4 times 4, we get 16. This is another 4 times 4, we'll get 16. We have to multiply those two together. We'll get 256 times another 4. That gives me a final answer of 1,024. Or 1,024, sorry about that. All right. Now, when we do repeated multiplication, a lot of times we don't want to have to write all of this out. We don't want to have to put 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. That is why we have exponents, all right? That's the same thing as saying 4 to the 5th power, all right? 4 to the 5th power. So anytime we have repeated multiplication, know that we can express that using an exponent, all right? It saves space and it saves time. Instead of having to write all of this out, this means the same thing. All right, so exponents are just a shorthand. It's a shortcut so you don't have to write so much. That's all it is. There's nothing special about them. All right. I have to discuss this because every year we get kids or students who do this incorrectly. So I want to clear this up so you do not make this mistake. Know the difference. 4 squared, or 4 to the 2nd power, that does not equal 8. All right, you do not multiply the base times the exponent. You do not do that. You do not do that. You do not do that. All right, so it does not equal 8. 4 to the 2nd power is repeated multiplication. So 4 to the 2nd power means 4 2 times with multiplication, all right? 4 times 4, which is 16, all right? Notice if you do it incorrectly, you will get the wrong answer, all right? This is the wrong answer. This is the right answer. Do not make that mistake. You have been warned. All right, this part, this example, which is example 2 on your guided practice sheet, this should be helpful when you're completing the independent practice on the back. So let's go ahead and quickly fill in our chart. All right.
First, we have 3 different forms that you're going to have to learn. We have exponential form, expanded form, and standard form. All right, exponential form just means we're writing it with an exponent. So 8 to the 3rd power, if you remember, we can also say 8 cubed. All right, if I write it in expanded form, that is 8 times 8 times 8. All right, when I do that math to get my standard form, which is just the number by itself, 8 times 8 is 64, and then 64 times 8, 32, 48, 51. Would be 512. Alright? Do not make the mistake and say 24. That is not 24. It's 512. Big difference. We're going to mark it wrong. Alright? Let's look at, if we're given the expanded form, let's write our exponential form first. So, this is 5 is clearly the base. That is the number that I see. So I'll write the number that I see first. It's repeated multiplication. And then how many times I'm multiplying it, that's my exponent. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 to the 4th power. Alright, and when I do standard form, I just have to multiply. First I can go 5 times 5, that gets me 25. And these two, 5 times 5 gives me 25, which is 25 times 25. If I do that math, 10, 12, 10, 4, 5. So I get 625 as my standard form. Alright, let's look at the last example. This time I'm given the standard form and we're going to work backwards, alright? First, for standard form, if I wanted to write in an exponential form, I have to think of, or in expanded form, I have to think of what 2 numbers that are the same number would I multiply together to get 49. Well, that's pretty easy. 7 times 7 is 49. And when I write it in exponential form, 7 is my base. That's the number I see. How many times? 1, 2 times. That is my exponent. So 7 to the 2nd power, or we can also say 7 squared. Alright? Well, hopefully you got that. Make sure that you turn to the back of your homework sheet.
And on the back, you need to complete the chart. It should be pretty easy to complete the chart. You might have a little trouble with these fractions and the decimals. Don't let them scare you. You do the same exact thing. And then I want you to answer these 3 questions and you bring it in. Make sure that both your notes on the front part and the independent practice are complete so you can get full credit. Remember, we're going for whole year points. All right, y'all. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back. 15 more days and we'll be out for the winter break. All right. Peace out.